Welcome to another episode of Footnotes.
Welcome to another episode of Footnotes.
I figure there should be a lot of weird sounds in the background to to get the Twin Peaks feel. So you got there should be weird sound, like surrealism to fit with the tone. We should just dive in here. My name is Ezra Joseph Block, and this is my brother Jacob, of course, joining me always.
Still unable to reveal my entire name. Figure
out how to get rid of him. If you haven't watched the previous episode, you might want to, because we're going to be jumping in, with the assumption that you have. Obviously, there's going to be spoilers for Season 2 of Twin Peaks, and presumably Season 1.
Who knows?
And also possibly spoilers for the movie Fire Walk with Me, and spoilers for the reboot series, or I guess so just be aware of that as we can forge onwards. Do you want to just jump into it?
Let's just jump into it.
So, one thing I wanted to say is last time you were like, you really wanted Donna to be possessed by Bob, because she's turning into Laura, and Bob wanted to possess Laura.
Yes.
And I think Bob should be trying to possess her. Like, we should have nightmares where he comes to her, right? And he can be psychologically abusing her in various ways.
Right.
But,
and he has the marachas, so he's teasing her with the marachas in her ears, and it's really freaking her out.
Wait, you mean pretending to be a rattlesnake? What are you, marachas?
Yes, marachas. While she's asleep and she doesn't know where it's coming from.
What I was going to say is that I think by the end of the series, Donna should no longer think that Donna. I think Donna survives the series and she returns to normal in some capacity. I think Dr. Jacoby redeems himself, or he should redeem himself in trying to reach her. Basically,
what was his story arc?
Dr. Jacoby?
Yeah.
Well, because in the original series, it was basically he was Laura's therapist, but he couldn't get through to her. He developed a friendship with Laura, and he might have helped her a little, but she died anyway, and because he isn't a very good therapist. But I think this.
I barely realized that at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I felt no connection with Dr. Jacoby.
It's pretty esoteric, but. I think this should be this is a good story arc, because then he didn't save Laura Palmer, but then he saves Donna, who thinks that she's Laura Palmer. So it's symbolic and and dramatic, right? And then right, yeah. And it can be he gets his license revoked, right? He's not allowed to practice as a psychologist anymore, because he's a terrible psychologist by the board of medicine or whatever. But he's still obsessed, because what I'm imagining is he becomes obsessed with the idea that Laura is still alive.
Okay, that's a fair assumption.
Yeah, but then eventually in Season 3 he breaks out of that eventually.
They finally found the body.
No, they found the body before, Jacob, but he he thinks it's a conspiracy because he's all whacked out. It wasn't, but he
filled with cotton.
He thinks it was. But then I'm imagining Donna seduces him, and then he's kissing her, and then he bolts out of it, right? And he realizes he comes out of his fugue.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah. At what point do we feel a connection with him so we can actually care about what's happening?
End of Season 3. Well, I'm imagining he becomes more desperate as he looks for Laura.
Okay.
The end of Season 3, Dr. Jacoby saves Donna, or helps Donna with the assistance of her sister/ers to recover her dormant personality and save her before Bob completely before Bob takes over her body. No, so if that's going to be it, who should Bob possess in season 3? So here's what I'm thinking, right?
Right.
So season 2 ends, or actually, what I'm thinking is,
what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that the Bob in Leland, he kills Ronette, right?
Right.
He kills Ronette and puts a thing under her fingernail.
Yeah.
And then like he at the end of the season he goes to kill Maddie. Like they're in the house and he's like about to kill her. But then like he gets stopped.
Uh-huh.
And what I'm imagining is Sarah Palmer, his wife, like I'm imagining she gets like the phone call where I'm imagining they figure it out. So like they call her and tell her like Leland's the murderer and like where is Maddie because they're afraid for her life, and they're like driving over at the same time, and then they arrive to find Leland lying on the ground like dead, right? And then Sarah shot him and then she shot herself, right?
Okay.
It's just like a terrible scene, and like Maddie's like crying or whatever, right? And then she goes home, and then like a couple of days later, Maddie dies.
Why?
And they find because Bob is still after her, and they find the thing underneath her fingernail.
How?
That proves Bob is still, because Bob has possessed someone new, and used them to kill Maddie.
Okay. Why didn't he just possess Maddie?
What do you mean?
He could possess Maddie
She's
and get
not
her to kill herself.
He's not. He doesn't want to. He's not interested in causing people to commit suicide. He's interested in murdering people, I think.
I mean, I think it would be about as fun.
Well, not exactly. I mean, imagine like he doesn't have a predatory thing about this. Like he enjoys the hunt.
Yeah. Well,
Look, all I'm saying is like the people he's drawn to have like strong like personalities. It
Right.
seems like the people he tries to possess.
well, I'm not a fantastical serial killer, so I suppose I don't quite understand his train of thought.
Look, he kills her because it makes her a better story. If she dies, right, it proves that Bob, like up until that point, we don't have any clarification that Bob is like an immortal spirit who possesses people, right? But then like he kills her, and that like changes, and then the show can be about trying to figure out who is the new killer in season 3, and it can be about trying to figure out how to stop Bob once and for all.
Season 2 ends with Maddie being killed.
Yes.
And then season 3 begins with him trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it feels like so it's sort of like repeating season 1, but it's also continuing the storyline and bring them further into the mythos of the Black Lodge, right?
And the White Lodge eventually.
And then Eckerd we said Eckerd arrives in episode 8, so then like his whole storyline picks up in season 3.
In the Grey Lodge.
It's not Avatar: The Last Airbender, Jacob. I don't know why I picked that specifically. Could have gone with something else, I suppose, but anyway,
Lord of the Rings.
Wait, why would it be? I don't understand. See, I was also gonna go with like
off the White
Jedi, because there's the light side and the dark side, and then there's like gray Jedi if you like read the comics and you're into the extended universe. But we're not here to talk about Star Wars. We're here to talk about Twin Peaks, right? So what I wanted to ask you is, if Donna doesn't get possessed, who should? Because I think it should be a woman, right? A woman or a girl, since Leland was the last person possessed. So it should prove that he can possess whoever he wants if he can like break their spirit and let them do it, and and force them to let him in.
Well, I think
yeah, just break everything. Why don't you?
What if?
Yeah.
What happens when Bob gets drunk?
What do you mean? He's a spirit. He doesn't get drunk.
Okay, but what if
The body might get drunk, but he doesn't get drunk.
does he feel drunk?
Why is this a question that you're asking? I asked you a very simple question.
What?
Who should he possess after Leland? Like, who should it turn out killed Maddie? Because I was thinking Audrey. Like, she's been through a bunch of trauma, presumably, at this point. And she's wrecked for the picking. Well, I don't want her to be Audrey either.
Well, then it isn't Audrey.
But the alternatives aren't very good. Like if it's not going to be Donna,
what about
it could be Josie. Like, it could be she shows back up, and then it turns out she's possessed by Bob. Katarina.
Was that her name?
Excuse me, Katarina.
That is her name?
I don't think that's the name of any character ever, especially not a character in Twin Peaks.
Is it Alagular?
What are you talking about? Who?
The gladiator female.
There is no gladiator in Twin Peaks. What are you talking about?
The one-eyed woman.
Nadine.
Katarina? She could be possessed.
Katarina.
Alagular.
No, because even if we make her character likable, like her getting possessed by Bob, it's not really that interesting, right?
Okay.
Like, it should be someone who appears innocent, but like Laura has been like abused in some way.
Bobby?
I thought we agreed it would be a girl.
We did?
Well, I thought it would be cool if it would be a girl, because if it's another boy, then it's just like, oh, Bob just possesses guys.
Okay, what about Donna's mother, the food critic?
She's not a food critic. What are you talking about?
Which one was that?
None of them are food critics. The Gladiator? Food critics. How? Did you watch a different series?
I'm pretty sure someone's mother came
Donna's mother is in a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair? I don't remember that.
And I'm pretty sure she's a housewife.
She's a house... Okay. But which one? I think it was the mother of the crime guy.
The crime guy? The crime guy.
No, the wife of the crime guy.
Shelley?
Her mother.
My God.
Her mother is the food critic.
No,
Shelley's mother.
No. Oh my God. Norma's mother is the food critic.
Oh, Norma. I forgot about Norma.
This is why'd we even do a Twin Peaks podcast? You don't remember anything about it.
Maybe that's the show's fault itself.
Way
too many characters.
Is it?
Way too many characters.
There are a lot of characters, to be fair. I was also thinking possibly Shelley, because she was abused by Leo. But then, like, I also had this plot line planned out for Shelley, where she gets like smoke inhalation from being in the burned down mill, right? Right. So then, like,
wait, when was she in the burnt down mill?
She at the end of season 1, in the beginning of season 2, Jacob. She was in the mill. Leo tied her up in the mill, and Catherine let her go, and then the mill was on fire, and then Pete saved her.
She was the one that was tied up?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's
Do you want?
me.
If you want, I can pause the podcast. You can go and rewatch the whole series and come back to me in 22. Actually, what am I talking about? In 4 days, and
that's my style.
So, what was I saying? Yeah. So Shelley gets smoke inhalation, and then like they need like these oxygen tanks, right, to like help her breathe. So then Bobby starts working for Hank, who's like threatened him, right? And Bobby becomes part of Hank because Hank is continuing the drug ring that Leo was running, right? Because he wants to make a profit off this. And then like Robbie ropes in Mike.
No. Please don't get angry.
Yeah.
Who is Hank?
The guy with the domino?
The guy with the domino.
The guy who shot Leo and killed him.
Shot Leo and killed him.
He didn't kill him in the series. He kills him in our version, but he shot Leo. He works for Ben and Jerry.
Works for Ben and Jerry. Works
He's Norma's husband. He went to jail.
Oh, Hank! Right, I was talking about him earlier.
The gladiator? I don't know. No, I was. Wait, because she beat people? Because she was. Is that because she was a wrestler? That's not a gladiator. That's not anything like
She could
a
be a gladiator. She wanted to be.
Okay, so Hank continues to run the drug trade, and then Robbie ropes in Mike to help him with the drug trade, right? And then Mike, Bobby, and then Mike,
the teenage boy, not the spirit.
Yes, the teenage boy. Not he doesn't rope in a spirit from the Black Lodge to assist him in selling drugs. Now,
hey, have you noticed that there's a Mike and a Bob in the real world and in the
yes,
spirit world?
Jacob. It's part of the theme of duality throughout the series. If you'll notice, the name of the series is Twin Peaks, and it ends up being about the duality of man.
That's the whole thing, duality?
Well, it's not the whole thing, but it's a prevalent theme.
Okay.
That's why there's two Mikes and two Bobs, and also why there's like the Black Lodge and the White Lodge, and also why like there's a bunch of other like the like doppelgangers and people pretending to be other people and people who look like other people.
Yeah.
It's a theme. It's a theme in the series throughout the series. It's the double thing.
Yeah. A lot of mirrors too.
Okay.
I think that's a thing.
No, so I'm gonna write that down first. So Shelley gets smoke inhalation.
Okay.
Inhalation. Bobby joins Hank's gang to buy medicine for her.
For who?
Shelley.
For Shelley, because
she can't work anymore because she has
lungs.
Smoke inhalation.
Right.
To buy groceries for her because she has smoke inhalation. Bobby ropes in Mike to help him. Mike gets a taste of Hank's lifestyle and becomes addicted to it.
Okay.
Turning into a villain. And Bobby backs out.
What if Bobby
tries to back out?
What if Bob possesses Mike and Mike possesses Bobby?
No.
Okay.
Although I do like the idea of the one-armed man, I guess, dying and then Mike possesses a new person.
Yes.
We should write that down. So, Philip Gerard. Oh, yeah, that should be it. So, Bob in season 3. I didn't capitalize it. So, Bob in season 3 kills Gerard because Mike knows too much.
Okay. Knows too much.
Or what if Bob tries to put Gerard into like a permanent coma? So then the spirit will be like trapped inside his body, but he won't be able to talk.
Okay.
But then Gerard ends up dying after being in the coma, and the spirit of Mike possesses a new person. What do you think? Yes. Okay. He puts Gerard into a coma to stop him from telling everyone about him. And Gerard ends up dying. And the spirit
Mike was the only thing holding
Mike
him up.
Goes into a new body. I'm thinking Andy.
Andy is the
new vessel for Mike. No.
Andy.
No.
Andy. Andy is
The new vessel for Mike.
the guy who does.
Oh my God! He's the off deputy. Andy is the one who's slow.
Andy,
He's
Andy.
in love with Lucy.
Andy, I remember Andy now.
You don't remember any of the characters. This is amazing.
I keep thinking of different parts of this show, and I keep fixating on those parts, and I don't realize there are other parts of it.
You need to knock that off right this instant. So at the end of season 2. Or wait, should we find out that Ben Horn is secretly Donna's real father at the end of season 2?
We're still doing that?
We can take it out.
No, I want to do that. Yes. And then everything explodes. To be continued.
Find out that his real father, Eckhart, arrives in town. Or I'm thinking, in the finale, Andrew Packard helps Cooper enter the Black Lodge because he's super spiritual.
Okay. Okay. Now.
Okay, but just a second. So, and then Sarah kills Leland and herself. Maddie ends up dead anyway. So then, first of all, so who's Mike going to possess?
Mike is going
Could
to
it be
possess
Andy?
Bobby.
No, it is not going to be Bobby. All right, pick a different character.
Who's the guy? What's his name?
Which just describe him.
Sam
None of the characters.
with the mustache, and he wears a hat. He's kind of old.
Are you talking about Pete?
Pete, yes,
Pete Martell.
yes.
You want him to possess Pete?
Yes.
I'm not so sure about that. See, I was going to suggest he possess Johnny Horn, Ben's mentally disabled son.
That happened?
Yeah, Ben has a son, Johnny. He wears an Indian headdress. He didn't appear very much, so you'd be forgiven for forgetting him. We never should have done this. No. I was thinking either. Because that was the thing. I was thinking like, well, what if Bob possesses Johnny? Because I thought that was a cool idea. Like, if he's gonna possess a guy, he should possess Johnny because he's like child level intelligence.
Yeah.
He's like trapped, basically. Johnny is, but then like Bob could like possess his body and use him to do a bunch of awful stuff.
So he would be more justified. They wouldn't just try to kill him. They would think, well, he's going insane. We have to treat him or something.
Right. Then that would, it could be, and then that could throw you off the scent, right?
Right.
It could make it more of a twist when they reveal that Bob has possessed Johnny.
Okay. Yeah, I'm up for that.
So then who is Mike going to possess?
Andy? Dick?
See, no, he's definitely not. No, see, I'm going to make a note here. Dick will appear in one episode. We will find out he is the father. We will find out he is the father. But Andy wants a life with Lucy. Anyway,
and he proposes.
And doesn't care that the child isn't his.
Yes.
He proposes, and Dick thinks
he kills himself.
And Dick thinks it's so beautiful that he cries.
That sounds like something Dick would do.
Yeah. There you go. All right, done.
Okay.
And thus concludes the storyline with Andy, Dick, and Lucy. Okay, so Bob possesses Johnny. Who does Mike possess?
Mike.
I was going to say Audrey. And then okay, so then Mike possesses Audrey. Mike possesses Audrey, and he leads Cooper in Audrey's body into the Black Lodge.
Now, are we going to have more characterization toward the spirit as opposed to in the original series?
Should we?
I mean, that I always feel like we should. That's how I think.
Well,
that's how I do.
The thing is, by making them, by not giving them very many notable personality traits, it makes them feel less human. Like, if you make them relatable in some way, then they're more human. But if they're just like weird, then they genuinely feel like something that is beyond us, like a different species.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean,
we could expand stuff. I was thinking that in early in season 1, Cooper has the dream with the midget, right?
Right.
Sorry, with the small man. In season 2, he has the dream with the giant.
Yeah.
I was thinking in season 3, he
has a dream with a normal person.
No, his last dream before he goes into the Black Lodge is of Bob. Like, Bob takes him into like his lair, sort of, in his mind.
And would that be any similar to how it happened at the end of season 2?
Well, I was imagining that we would change it slightly.
Slightly.
So instead of just being like the waiting room, it would the room of curtains.
Right.
It would be like this weird, like, distorted black forest, and then they go up to like a lodge, and the lodge is the curtains.
Lodge of the curtains. And when you exit, and when you go through the curtains, you go out the other side. You go back in.
What do you mean?
So you open up the curtains and you walk into the abyss, and then you come out on the other side of the room.
Oh, yeah, sort of like that, yes.
I mean, I suppose that wouldn't come out. They wouldn't come up very often, but that helps me.
I was also, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so episode 1, season 3, Cooper has a dream where Bob mocks him. Where Bob laughs and gyrates.
Right, and he keeps offering him coffee, but he won't let him drink it.
He's not like a bully from like a 1980s film where he's doing like something like kind of mean to him. That's not what's going on here. He's more like, I'm gonna murder more people and rape more people, and you can't stop me.
Right. So it's more of a mental torture than torment.
Well, it's just trying to eat, because the spirits of the Black Lodge, they don't explain this in the series, but they do in Fire Walk with Me. They feed on pain and sorrow.
Right.
Like
I think they do explain that in the show.
Yeah, possibly. Well, I think because that's that's like their food for them, basically.
Right.
So another question: we're rewriting the series. Should we see the White Lodge, or if not, should we see more of the White Lodge spirits? Because I feel like we don't really see them. There's a possibility that some of the characters or like visions that we see throughout the series are from the White Lodge, but otherwise it's all in the Black Lodge, in the Red Curtains room.
See, the problem with not characterizing the characters is you keep having to add new characters to show different aspects. You could tell the whole story if you just fleshed out the midget and giant. with the small person and the large person.
Well,
Slash old
they're
person.
men, so you can say the small man,
Well, you don't know if that's how they
the
identify.
short man.
They're not humans. They don't. They're
I
not
think
limited to.
I think he's called the man from another place. Is like the proper term in like the fandom.
Okay.
Is the guy
The
who likes to
forerunner?
dance. No, I guess he's just called the man from another place. He's also
The
called
immigrant.
the arm because I believe it's like later revealed that he is the arm that Philip Gerard tore off his body.
And the giant is the leg. Because he's tall.
No, Jacob. The giant is a separate thing. He's an arm. And yes, possibly because that's the reason why he's short. I don't know. I'm not an expert on the lore, but it doesn't really matter. The point is, should they meet like one of the White Lodge spirits or go to the White Lodge or what?
I think. Wait, does it need to be a special date for you to be able to visit a lodge?
It's supposed. Yeah, I think it's like. Was it? They said it had to do with like astrology.
Yeah, when Jupiter and Saturn meet.
Yeah.
And I think what
I
assume,
think is if you can enter the Black Lodge at one point, then you can enter the White Lodge at the same point. But maybe that's wrong, because it's also sort of like you have to go through hell to get to heaven type situation.
I mean that's what would have been assumed.
Possibly
not, though.
No.
Possibly not.
No. Okay. The other thing is, so I was thinking, like, we can have a character for Johnny's nurse, and then later it's revealed that she slept with Johnny.
Yeah. Sounds like something Johnny would do.
It is Peter revealed she took advantage of Johnny. All right. What else do we want to get at? So, okay. So we figured out who Bob possesses. We figured out who Mike possesses. We figured out. Another thing. So I wanted it to be like Hank attacks Big Ed the first time, and Nadine just like karate chops him, right, and like throws him down on the ground, and he's like done, right, and he gets arrested or whatever. But then he like escapes or something, and then he attacks Ed again, and this time they have like a full-out brawl in like a warehouse or something, and Norma ends up shooting Hank to stop him from killing Ed. What do you think of that idea? I was also thinking maybe Big Ed would get blinded in the fight.
Why?
From, like, well, I was imagining Hank like grabs like a bottle of chlorine and throws it on his eyes.
Why?
Because it's like lying around, and I'm imagining this is happening in the workshop where Big Ed fixes people's automobiles. I don't know why there would be chlorine there, but I'm just imagining there's like a thing of bleach on like a shelf, and he grabs it and like unscrews it and tosses it in his eyes to blind him so that he can like fight him better.
No, it's too cheap. It doesn't
cheap.
seem like something Hank would do.
Wait, what do you didn't even remember his name a second ago.
Yeah, who is he again?
Norma's husband.
Norma's husband. The criminal.
Yes.
And so Johnny is...
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's right. No. Johnny is Ben's son. What are you... Oh, my God.
Johnny... Oh, Johnny. Right. Johnny.
Somebody save me. What do you think? I was thinking that would be the conclusion.
Wait, why is Ed chasing Hank?
Because Norma is cheating on Hank with Ed and has been for years now.
Oh yeah.
Do you need me to remind you who Big Ed is?
No, I'm aware of who Big Ed is.
Okay.
For now.
Oh. Okay, another thing. Donna's sis. So I was also thinking one of Donna's sisters should die. Bob should kill one of Donna's sisters to traumatize Donna into letting him possess her.
Do we ever see Donna's sisters?
Yes, she has two sisters. Harriet, who appears in the first episode of season 1, and very quickly in the first episode of season 2, and then never again. And Kirsten, who only appears in the first episode of season 2.
explains why I have no idea who they are.
Yes. In this case, it's not your fault that you don't remember them. They have very small roles. But I'm thinking since, like, Catherine and Leo are dead, we can bring in these already existing characters to fill more of a role throughout season 2 and season 3.
Okay.
And then I'm thinking either Kirsten or Harriet dies. Probably Harriet, because she's slightly older and she's a poet, so she's, like, sensitive. But then, she gets killed, and it's, like, horrible, right?
What about both of them, though?
And then it's like, I'm imagining Doc Hayward basically just goes insane because his one daughter, like, thinks that she's Laura, and then the other daughter dies. No, both of them are not going to die because that's too dark, and I want one of them to be alive at the end of the series for when Donna has her, like, redemption.
But she'll be traumatized, and then she'll kill herself.
No, Jacob, it doesn't have to be that bad, all right? There's already bad enough stuff going on.
There's so many characters.
That's why I'm suggesting we kill one of them. Now, which one do you want it to be? You don't know anything about them. I'll write it down. That's Harriet. Harriet gets killed in season 3.
But she's named after one of our national heroes.
Harriet
Tubman.
Oh, yeah. For some reason, I was like, yes, Harry S. Truman. But that's the sheriff. I don't know why I was... Okay, so Donna's sister dies, traumatizing her, furthering her traumatization. Exasperating her. Doc Hayward goes insane. Or maybe he, like, suffers a heart attack. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, he suffers a heart attack.
And
he says, I should have taken more vitamins.
Ben Horn helps take care of Donna and Kirsten and their mother as part of his redemption arc.
Who are we talking about?
Ben Horn.
And, okay. What does he do again?
He helps Donna and Kirsten and their mother as part of his redemption arc.
Yeah.
Because Johnny got raped.
Kirsten isn't his
And Audrey got addicted to heroin, so she's, like, in a real bad place. Are we still going to have her get addicted to heroin? Because in the series, she
actually gets addicted to heroin?
No, in the series, Blackie and Jean Reno give her injections of heroin to try and make her a junkie. But then, like, she's back to normal in, like, 3 days straight.
Right.
In the series. Like, they never touch upon it again, the fact that they injected her with heroin.
I mean, that isn't really how it works. If you're force injected, then you're probably not actually going to get addicted. You may very well develop negative feelings for that drug.
No, I know. It's not addicted, but it's like she was drugged, and they don't go into her going through withdrawal from it.
So she gets addicted to another drug.
Audrey starts taking, like, painkillers or something to deal with the withdrawal.
Right.
Starts taking painkillers to deal with heroin withdrawal and gets addicted to those.
Which is apparently one of the worst types of withdrawal, according to what I heard.
Heroin withdrawal?
Yeah.
I would imagine so, yes.
Yeah.
I think it's probably, that's safe to say. Yeah. What else?
What if Cooper becomes a woman?
No, shut up. What I was going to say is Josie. What ends up happening with... First of all, I was going to say Eckerd should probably get destroyed by, like, the spirits of the Black Lodge because he's trying to harness their power the way, like, Wyndham was. So it should probably be, like, a situation where he doesn't understand exactly what he's doing. Like, he's dealing with powers beyond mortal comprehension, like Indiana Jones style, and he gets his face melted off.
Yeah.
Or he could just die. It's up to you.
And then the Russians nuke New York.
Is this Watchmen now? What's going on?
Because they think that it's a threat created by America,
New York? What are you talking about? New York.
Okay, they detect
The Russians nuke New York.
Explosion coming from the
Twin Peaks?
Yes. And
Also known as the New York of the West Coast.
And they think that it's a nuclear bomb.
63 population.
And so then they nuke New York as the backlash.
No, what are you talking about? The series is not going to end with atomic war. What is wrong with you? You know, sometimes I'm not sure that you're taking this seriously.
A little bit. A little bit column A.
What should happen to Eckerd, Jacob?
Eckerd. He's the old guy.
He's the English guy.
Right.
Andrew is the old guy who was the brother. Eckerd is the English guy who Josie was working for.
And he's also old.
He's middle-aged, I guess.
He looks pretty old.
You didn't even remember him a second ago. How do you know that he was so old?
I remember him being pretty old.
Maybe you're remembering the wrong character, though.
Okay, was that actually Andrew?
No, Andrew is old. Andrew has, like, gray hair. Eckerd, his hair wasn't even turning gray yet. He's just like this austere English guy. He's a lumber businessman from Hong Kong, a very corrupt one at that. He has, like, mercenaries for some reason. I don't know. He's like a crime boss.
Okay.
And we agreed previously that he knows about the Black Lodge, and the reason why he's interested in Twin Peaks is because he's trying to destroy, like, this one shrine that's, like, it's sort of like it's supposed to act as like a shield. Like it keeps a certain. It stops the spirits from just possessing people randomly.
Ben on the
the Ghostwood project to clear the land, which contains the shrine.
But Andrew hating Eckerd and also wanting to not
understanding more about the spirituality.
Spirits.
Yeah, well, it's not. He's not trying to kill the spirits, but yes. But then like Eckerd ends up betraying Eckerd betrays Ben,
and then he activates
and Ben sides with stop it, and Ben sides with Andrew, ends up siding with Andrew. I was thinking maybe Ben could kill Eckerd.
Okay. As Robert E. Lee.
No, Ben doesn't turn into Robert E. Lee in this version, alright?
Okay.
In this version of events, there's no Robert E. Lee.
There's no Robert E. Lee? Then there's no Civil War? That was a cheap joke.
And kills him for endangering his family. We should also say Johnny's nurse ends up getting killed by Hank and Mike as a job for Ben.
Okay.
Eckerd betrays Ben and blows the Great Northern up. He blows it up. He sets off a bomb in the Great Northern.
Okay. Wow. Now Cooper has nowhere to sleep.
That's also true. All his stuff was in there. That's not good. He bomb in the Great Northern. Ben ends up siding with Andrew. All right. What else? Josie. What's Josie's storyline?
Okay, so she finds out Andrew is still alive, right? And then
Yes.
Yeah.
Josie. Yeah, well, yeah, she found. Well, the thing we discussed is that's not how you spell gyrates and laughs. What we decided was that she was like gonna come home. She would find Andrew there. They would have like a scene where they talk. Then later it would be like Sheriff Truman arrives and he's like, Andrew, you're still alive. And he's like, I'm pressing charges against Josie or whatever. And he's like, let me go into the other room and get my coat or whatever. And then she slips out a window or something and disappears into the woods for a few episodes. Well, what? She just escapes the series and never comes back?
No, she's just in Shanghai, so she only appears in video.
What?
As,
Does that make any sense?
as sort of a Mr. Claw.
No. What? Jacob, you have to give serious suggestions if we're going to be doing this. Come on.
I'm spitballing. This is my style. This is my thing.
Well, however long it takes you to get to something good, I guess.
Okay, Josie, she's hiding in the woods,
Yeah.
and she made a tent.
Well, imagine she's squatting in like an abandoned house or something.
She used spackle by spitting on mud and then drying that with her breath, and so it's a really tiny tent, really pathetic, really in a low state by then. She's using ripped off parts of her clothes as the bow.
Jacob, if you could be serious for just a second and tell me how does she come back into the series? I assume after Eckert shows up, but what is her purpose then?
Her purpose is
like, I'm imagining she loves Sheriff Truman, even though she played him. So she's probably against Eckert. But what happens to her?
What happens to her?
She could be killed by one of Eckert's assistants.
Johnny kills her. Bob as Johnny.
Johnny's already killing a lot of people. I mean, I guess we could have him kill her as well, but
I just want to get rid of all the characters.
You can't just,
Clean
but you
up
can't.
the place.
But you can't, though.
Sweeping it under the rug.
But you can't, though. She goes to jail, probably for the rest of her life.
And she only appears in video.
No! Wait.
Okay, no, she goes to jail for the rest of her life. We never see her again.
Oh, okay, I just had a great idea. What if Eckert never shows up? What if instead we only ever get, because he's like still in Hong Kong, right?
Right.
So what if instead we only ever get him on like the phone, but then like in one of the last episodes of the series, right, like Josie comes into his office and shoots him while he's over the phone with somebody.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Now see, this is what I'm made for.
I
gave you that idea.
Your idea of her only appearing in as a video translated into a better idea of Eckert only appearing over the phone. Only appears over the phone. His assistant. What was her name?
Was Sean Jordan?
Miss Jones.
Miss Jones. That makes more sense.
Jones shows up in between speaks to conduct business for him. Josie shows up late in episode. Shows up in episode 7 or 6 of season 3 to shoot him.
A smile.
And she probably goes to a Chinese prison for the rest of her life.
And all the prison guards are racial stereotypes.
No, that's the end of her story. What are you talking about? What do you mean? I don't even know what that means. All the prison guards are racial stereotypes of Chinese people? What does that mean? Why? How? I don't understand. What does that have to do with anything?
I'm taking you down to Chinese prison.
It's just implied is all. She shoots him and then that's the end of it. And then Eckert betrays Ben, so Ben's up siding with Andrew, and Ben kills Miss Jones. Miss Jones instead for endangering his family.
And they give her Chinese handcuffs.
So about wrapping up the storyline with Hank, Ed, Norma, and Nadine. I was assuming, so Nadine wakes up wakes up from committing suicide, right?
Right.
At first, she's all messed up, but then like she gets like
messed up in one way.
I'm assuming she wanted to die, so she feels off. She feels awful, and she like won't look Ed in the eye or whatever, and she won't. But then like she ends up, she gets like a new lease on life, right?
Right. But not as
a schoolgirl. Instead, she becomes like
not as a ditzy school.
She becomes like a nicer, kinder person, basically.
Yeah.
Just
progresses.
As a character
in life.
And then I'm imagining at some point, maybe either towards the end of season 2 or maybe in the beginning of season 3, Nadine like turns to Ed and she goes like, I can't do this anymore because we're not in love with each other, and I wish you were in love with me, but you're not, so I'm going to leave. And she like leaves the town to go like make a new life for herself, basically. And her curtain rod thing actually like turns out amazing. Like basically everything goes right for her after this point
because she thinks logically and not dickishly.
Well, I'm just imagining like a guy. For some reason, I'm imagining like a guy in like a white lab coat, like handing her a giant check. I'm not sure why, but like I'm imagining somehow this curtain rod thing spins into her becoming like a inventor somehow. Like she becomes rich and something, and she's like, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, this is a gold mine right here. We're gonna hit the streets. There's an untapped market in the curtain rod.
Rod industry, yeah, it's great. Well, I mean, there are enough curtains in Twin Peaks alone to justify the use of the silent drape runners.
C-Rod. They're the curtain rod people.
Okay, so that's the end of Nadine's storyline. Nadine ends up leaving Ed after she's completed her arc, and probably directly after defeating Hank in a fight. She tells Norma she wishes them the best. Now what happens? So I want a climactic fight scene between Hank and Ed. Because they're both like big guys. I want to see them like fight as if they were animals.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Ed doesn't have to end up blind if you think that's stupid, but
what if he ends up deaf?
How? I mean, I'm open to suggestions, but how?
Stabbed in the eardrums.
Both of them?
Yes.
At the same time.
No, not at the same time. At different times.
But he doesn't die.
No, he doesn't die. He just becomes deaf.
Okay, what if instead there's an explosion?
Okay.
And the explosion deafens him?
Yes.
Or like deafens him in one ear at least. Or, I mean, I guess it could deafen him in both ears.
He gets terrible hearing.
Yeah, he gets terrible hearing. He ends up like Gordon Cole.
Bonsai!
Bonsai tree!
I was always curious about that man.
You mean David Lynch?
Yeah.
In disguise? Okay, so Ed
my
ends
plan is complete.
Deafened in the blast of the hotel getting blown up. And he marries Norma shortly after.
Right.
I guess Hank dies in the explosion. Or he gets crippled in the explosion and goes back to prison.
No, he dies.
Hank dies in the explosion.
Right.
Okay. So then I also wanted to write down, so I'm imagining like Truman, right? He has like an arc after Josie gets revealed to have been working for Eckerd and she lied and then she runs off. She runs off, right? So I'm imagining like first he's
the word of the law.
First he's super angry, and then like the anger transitions into like just depression, and then the depression turns into like like a need for like
Bargaining.
I was gonna say sexual gratification because of like loneliness and as a way
So he
to
goes
cope.
to One-Eyed Jacks.
Well, that's another question. What's going to happen to One-Eyed Jacks? Because in the series, they break into it and it like gets closed down because Blackie dies and and Audrey was being kidnapped and held there.
Yeah.
But then like presumably that we're going to do something different than that. Then like because we never mentioned Jean Reno, so presumably he's not going to show up in the series.
Right.
I mean, I guess Blackie could still kidnap Audrey. She has to if Audrey's going to get heroin addicted. But I'm not really tied to Audrey.
Audrey?
Yeah, but I'm not really tied to Audrey getting heroin addicted anyway.
Yeah.
Like I'd be okay if she doesn't get heroin addicted. Instead, she like escapes and gets lost in the woods.
Right. But she passes out.
Yeah, from like exposure,
And
hunger, and exhaustion.
withdrawal.
Wait, how does she get withdrawal from passing out in the woods?
No, she passes out from getting withdrawal.
So she gets injected with heroin, but then she escapes One-Eyed Jacks.
Right.
Gets lost in the woods because she's on heroin.
Right.
Collapses because she's on heroin, and then she gets addicted to painkillers
Because she was on heroin.
because she was on heroin and she's going through withdrawal. But how does
From
she find
heroin.
painkillers in the woods? Imagine she's in the woods for a while. I mean, I guess she doesn't have to be, but
She finds the ayahuasca plant.
the ayahuasca plant.
Yes.
She finds a plant that gives her.
Spiritual power.
Okay, I'm gonna write some of this down for season 2. John does not show up. Audrey gets injected with heroin by Blackie, who comes on to her because Blackie does that with her prostitutes.
No, it's just a sort of manipulation tactic. It's to confuse them.
She's just taking advantage of her because she's on heroin, Jacob.
Right.
Audrey gets injected with heroin by Blackie, who comes to her because Blackie does that with her. Here comes on her. Yeah, Audrey escapes One-Eyed Jacks.
And
Gets lost in the woods, collapses, and I'm imagining like a mountain man finds her, like a guy who like lives in a hut, and like
Wyndham Earl.
This is where we introduce the character of Wyndham Earl, Jacob.
Yes.
He rescues Audrey, and it's like out of the frying pan into the fire, and then he's like, I'm even worse than Blackie was, and then like Blackie shows up like where they're like looking for Audrey, and then Wyndham Earl kills Blackie, and then Wyndham Earl tries to like uses Audrey to like force Cooper to like come to him, right?
Right.
But then Audrey kills Wyndham. No, that's stupid.
And then Bob steals Wyndham's soul.
No, why would that happen in this version of events?
Because he
We
wants.
said there wouldn't be too many
he's-
villains,
He's
Jacob.
collecting souls.
Jacob, we have enough villains. We don't have to bring in new ones.
Okay, no Wyndham Earl. The mountain guy. He's a spirit.
From the White Lodge,
Yes.
and he heals Audrey.
You with his spirit powers.
And then after that, like Audrey becomes like enlightened,
Yes.
sort of.
Yes. Yes. But we
She
don't.
like realizes what's important in her life.
I mean, yeah, but we don't want to change her character too much because she's already quite likable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want
Well,
to.
it can just be that she becomes a lot less reckless and like deviant.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think I can do that.
Or what if her hair turns white?
Uh.
No, huh?
What if her
Okay.
hair turns brown?
Her hair is black.
What if her hair turns red?
It's going to be the first one would be barely noticeable. All right, her hair doesn't have to change the color, but I'm trying to think of like a physical. There could be like a physical difference.
Turn ginger.
She is rescued.
You want her to have black
by
teeth?
a mountain man who is a spirit of the White Lodge.
What if she always wears white?
What if it's Leo? He
Leo
survived.
was the spirit all along.
No, he survived the bullet wound, wandered off into the woods, somehow found. I guess he took his truck out into the woods. He found. I don't know how he's still alive, but he survived the first bullet wound. He drove off into the woods, found a cabin, shacked up in it. He finds Audrey. He realizes he can blackmail Ben Horn with her.
Yeah.
I don't know why we keep coming back to the same plot that was in the original series,
Okay, but then Audrey tries to break out. Leo freaks out, and the exasperation kills Leo.
That kills Leo. He's been shot twice, but then no, you're right. I like this idea though that he gets shot twice, but then like something minor kills him.
Yeah,
just like the shock like makes his heart beat, and then like the bullet moves slightly in his body because of it, and he dies.
Yeah,
like because there's a Batman comic like that where like this guy had like a bullet inside of him for like years, and then someone punches him really hard, and the bullet moves and it kills him. And that's once
the guy was shot in the head, but it only grazed him, and it hit a tree. Years later, he blew up the tree and it
with
hit
dynamite,
him in the head
and the bullet like went straight through his heart, and he died.
His head.
Because
it went in his head.
That's why you don't blow up trees with dynamite, you idiot.
Also, trees that have bullets in them.
Well, maybe he didn't know it was that specific tree. I mean.
No, he did it specifically for that reason.
Yeah, he was trying to get the bullet out. What an idiot! Just cut it out. I don't know what
you deserve to get shot.
Cut down the tree. I don't know. It's like, no, I'll buy a bunch of dynamite. This can't possibly go south.
Apparently, he tried cutting it down, but then he gave up. And
this tree was the tree like an evil spirit that was trying to get revenge on him or something? I don't know.
He was apparently a very bad person. I mean,
really?
Yeah,
I never would have guessed.
Probably why he was getting shot by people.
So instead of Audrey gets healed by a benevolent spirit of the White Lodge, and she gets a new lease on life, and her hair turns white. Instead, she escapes One-Eyed Jacks, only to be kidnapped by somebody worse. But then she escapes him, and in escaping him, she accidentally kills him, and then she has like this guilt inside of her, even though he was already like on his last legs at this point.
Right.
So then she's like at her darkest point, but then she gets like built back up over season 3 as her relationship with Donna blossoms because they're half sisters.
Yeah.
As we said, would be revealed at the end of season 2.
Yes.
But then she doesn't forgive her father at all.
But not Leo.
She thinks he's irredeemable, basically.
Not Leo.
What do you mean?
It isn't Leo who saves Audrey.
Well, he doesn't. Yeah, yes, it is Leo.
Okay.
Or do you think it should not be?
I think it should be Leo because that was a good idea.
All right. So instead, Audrey gets lost in the woods. She is rescued by Leo, who then tries to use her to blackmail Ben Horn. But Audrey escapes again, putting a spider on him. They later find his body because the spider was super poisonous and he succumbs. Super venomous. And it turns out the spider was super venomous. Oh, and then she's also going through heroin withdrawals. So then, okay. So, and I'm thinking maybe, tell me if this goes too far, but what if Audrey considers committing suicide at a point in the season?
How far would she go?
I'm imagining her like standing by the falls, like ready to jump or something, and then she gets drawn back because of
I mean, how close can
or maybe
you get to the falls?
or not that not that she's about to jump, but she goes to the falls just thinking about possibly jumping because her life is like awful at this point.
So we see her jump off the waterfall, but then it turns out it was just in her head.
That's a really cheap trick, Jacob, and I don't think it's one that would suit this particular series well. Although I do admire your, I do admire where your head went to, and I want to do it, but I don't think we should. So yes, okay. So Audrey goes to the waterfall, thinking about jumping, but gets drawn back away for some reason.
By Mike.
Gets drawn back away by Mike in Gerard. Great. Does Audrey have to lose an arm to become possessed by Mike? I don't understand how it works.
Okay,
Maybe she loses an arm anyway. Like at the end of that, like maybe she's like running out of the portal and the portal closes over her arm and it splits it off. That's
portal?
The portal to the Black Lodge. I know that's
what the.
I know how that's not how it works.
It isn't the portal.
What do you mean? Yes, it is. It's like a portal to another dimension. It's not like a rip in time and space, but it's kind of like that. It's a little bit like that. It's not exactly like that. Yes, I know. All right, we can come up with a better reason for her to lose her arm. We can figure out. We can come up with a better reason for her to lose her arm. But do you think she should lose her arm at the end of the series?
No.
Okay. But is she possessed by Mike at the end of the series, or does he like? Yes. Okay, so we should probably wrap it up. So then, so Andrew, Audrey, and Cooper go to the Black Lodge to rescue Johnny and one other person who he's taken hostage. Shelley, Norma, Lucy,
Nadine.
Why would he? No. Nadine has left the series at this point.
Okay, right. Dr. Jacoby.
Why did he abduct Dr. Jacoby?
Bobby.
I mean, it could be Donna, but then Jacoby rescuing Donna would have to be after the climactic Black Lodge scene. It could be that way, that he grabbed Donna and took her with him into the Black Lodge.
No.
So they go there.
Shelley.
Shelley?
Shelley.
Well, he doesn't have to grab anyone. It could be that they just go there to free Johnny and trap Bob.
What if one of them is just a dummy and he's pretending he has another hostage?
What are you talking about? How? It's not a hostage situation. Bob didn't call them up on a phone and was like, send me $50,000 or the dummy dies. I don't even know how that would work. Oh my god. What are you talking about? Gerst? It could be Donna's other sister.
Which one? Harry is the one who dies.
Harry is the one who dies, so it would be Gersten. No, but it shouldn't be that he grabbed anyone like it was in the series. It should be that he's gone there and they're following him to try and trap him in the Black Lodge.
Okay.
So Andrew, Audrey, Truman, and Cooper. And to rescue Johnny and trap Bob. Andrew gets lost and is never found again.
Can he get trapped in the Black Lodge?
Well, look, Jacob, we are inventing the lore as we go, okay? So we don't have to play by anybody else's rules. But I'm imagining, like, again, I'm imagining there's this shrine. And because of the way the shrine works, Bob has to, like, he's trying to make vessels for the other dark spirits to inhabit so that they can get into the world. So he has to, Bob's job is to cause pain and suffering because they feed on it, but also he's trying to mold people like Donna to be able to be possessed by a dark spirit, so that then they can kill more people and let more dark spirits into the world, right?
Mhm.
So then I'm imagining like they build like a second shrine, or they like reactivate the shrine or something,
Okay.
and temporarily bind him in the Black Lodge, and then like
Before they can make an even bigger shrine that lasts forever.
the shrine isn't helping them. The shrine is stopping them.
What?
The shrine is preventing the dark spirits from entering the world.
Right, yeah.
Purely
So the
from just
people,
possessing people.
Yeah,
The people have to give themselves to the dark spirits to be possessed.
right.
So I'm imagining they like take like a token or something. There's some kind of ritual that they figure out how to do, which temporarily keeps Bob from coming back into the world.
Yes.
And then Mike can be like, this won't last forever. Like eventually he will return, but it's like a temporary victory, and they save Johnny's life and the lives of, and Donna's life, and a bunch of other people's lives.
Most people's lives.
Yeah, most of the people in the town's lives.
In the
'Cause otherwise
world.
they would have been possessed by the
I mean,
spirits.
I wouldn't put it beneath Bob to want to destroy the whole
Well,
world.
it doesn't have to be that extreme, Jacob.
He did sing, "Come on, everyone, get happy, get ready for the judgment day." You know?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that was foreshadowing on his attempts to end the world.
So we're in agreement that they're going to trap Bob, right?
Right? We are.
Okay. We're in agreement. All right. Thank you. So then, may I, furthering this line of thought, so Andrew, Audrey, Truman, and Cooper go into the Black Lodge to rescue Johnny and trap Bob, right?
Yes.
Andrew gets lost in the lodge. Like he gets lost wandering throughout the spirit realm, right?
And then he becomes a spirit.
It becomes like Uncle Iroh. He's in the spirit world. He becomes like a spirit. He's no
Yeah.
longer part of the physical world.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Okay.
And
what
then
happens?
his body just comes out through the forest, and they find.
No, that's the end of his storyline. We never. This is the last episode of the series. We never see him again. It's implied that he's gone forever.
Right.
Maybe he shows up in someone's dream at the end, but that's it. Okay.
So he wanders off into the
distance, and he becomes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
So it's
he's
sort of-
also part of the bad spirit realm, so I don't know why. Or maybe that can be it. They have to go to the White Lodge to get the piece of the shrine so that they can bind Bob.
Yes.
So Mike takes them to the White Lodge.
Yeah.
Audrey, right. Okay, so go to the White Lodge. Or maybe, I was going to be like, maybe some of them, maybe they they go in teams or something, but that doesn't make any sense. So they go to the White Lodge. So they never go to the Black Lodge. Okay, so I've got it. So they go to the White Lodge, they get the piece, they go back to the normal world where they bind him, where they bind Bob in Johnny's form and like exorcise him sort of.
Right.
And becomes like an owl.
Okay.
Yeah.
He becomes an owl,
And he
and then he gets abducted by the aliens.
no. Well, I don't know.
The aliens
We
hate
see
owls.
like an owl like demon like leave Johnny sort of like in like this weird thing. But then like
He
and
was
then, like,
an owl all along.
they like temporarily trap his Bob inside like a statue that is made to pretend to be a human body, sort of. Like
Right.
it's made to pretend to be a body. That's what they get from the White Lodge.
Okay.
Is like this trap thing.
Yeah.
Go to the White Lodge to get the trap for Bob. Andrew gets lost and gets lost in the White Lodge and becomes a spirit. Being there hurts Audrey because Mike is from the Black Lodge.
Yes.
And it's like toxic for him.
Oh. Yes. Yes.
They bring her back. And then what happens in like the climactic confrontation between Johnny, Bob, Cooper, and Truman? presumably. Or that's the characters at this point.
Well, Johnny dies.
Johnny has to die.
Johnny has to die.
Does he have to die?
Same way Leland dies.
Well, no, but Leland died with Bob. In the original series, Leland died. In the actual series, Leland died from Bob like smashing his head into a wall a bunch of times. He like suicided him. Does that happen in this?
Well, I wasn't thinking. I wasn't wasn't thinking that exclusively. I was thinking maybe they could do something else.
He gets shot or something. I don't know. Because I was imagining like they force this spirit out of Johnny and then trap it, or maybe they lure it out of his body.
Bobby eats Johnny's soul.
Oh, it could be that they decide to. What if they pretend that they're trying to trap him the way he trapped Mike and Gerard by inducing a coma in Johnny, making the body like inert, basically. Yeah. So that tricks Bob into leaving the body, and then jumping, and then once Bob is out of the body, they get him into the trap.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
We're in agreement.
But so both Truman and Cooper survived this encounter.
Yes. But one of them is scarred on the face.
Well, I was thinking one of them would probably I'm just imagining now like one of them becomes like a hermit or something. Like Cooper probably like goes off into the woods with the trap of Bob to like basically just to monitor it or to take it to the White Lodge, and then maybe he doesn't. I don't know. One of them something should happen where one of them doesn't return, right? Like I don't know. It feels like they have to part ways at the end of the series.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Cooper goes into the forest.
Or maybe he was like, I'm going to New Mexico to bury this, like, in the Navajo or something. I don't know.
That's also where natives were.
Yeah, okay. So they put Johnny in the coma, and and Bob jumps into the trap. Cooper drives off into the sunset with Bob, like rattling around inside the trap.
No. Like in The Sorcerer's Apprentice with the Matryoshka dolls. Remember? Yeah.
Do we have this in this like relatively happy ending, or
relatively yes, it's a happy ending. A lot of people died though.
Yeah, yes, obviously a lot of terrible things have happened from what we just described.
It had to be done.
Yeah, yes, it was necessary. No, I was going to ask. What I was going to ask you was, is there going to be like a dark twist, kind of like to show like things might have kind of worked out, but there's still this darkness.
What I assume is
someone.
Bob is too powerful to be kept within a physical cage, and eventually, right, he's like, "Ha! You thought you took me over? I'm gonna rule the world," and then we never reboot the show because that would be too much of a pain.
Right. Well, the other thing I was thinking of is like Cooper rides off with the trap, and then like, you know, like he looks at the trap, and then he gets like a smirk, and then I guess it turns out he was possessed by Bob anyway.
He looks
like
he looks
he
in
was
the rearview mirror,
like
and it's Bob.
Yeah, he looks in the rearview mirror, and Bob is sitting in the back seat, and he just like smiles and drives on.
They become friends.
No, I was also thinking like maybe Audrey wakes up and Bob is inside of her for some reason, or I don't know.
The whole show was a dream.
I don't know. I was yes, the whole thing was a dream, and they were all dead. The island was heaven, and the
cat was Satan.
The cat was Satan. Yeah, it's all and it all finally comes together. No, I was gonna think, or maybe like Truman is possessed by Bob, and he's like tricked Cooper somehow. I don't know. I was just imagining like like something bad probably has to happen because it doesn't seem like this situation would end well.
I mean,
But I mean, I guess it's relatively wistful. It would be okay if it just ended like this, and like Ben, like he kind of reconciles with Audrey. Like she doesn't hate him maybe as much as she did before.
the funeral industry will be booming there.
Well, most of the town has been destroyed at this point, so I'm imagining like, it's not too good, but yeah. A lot of people, and then like Donna reunites with her sister and her mother, and like Dr. Jacoby, like he says, "I'm going to Hawaii" or something. I don't know. I'm imagining the characters like and Ed and Norma get married, and Bobby and Shelley get married. I don't know. I'm just imagining.
Nadine comes back with millions of dollars to fix up the town.
Yeah. No, the town should still be destroyed. But I'm imagining like this is the like conclusion for everyone. They're gonna tear down the movie theater and make a cement factory. No, I was gonna. I don't know. For some reason, I was thinking like, what if it turns out Bobby is possessed by Bob? Like I don't know. I was imagining that for some, or Shelley is possessed by Bob. I don't know.
What if there's Bob in all of us?
That's a good question, Jay. What if there is Bob in all of us? Or maybe it like ends with us seeing the Black Lodge and we see Laura in the Black Lodge. And
she becomes an evil spirit.
Yeah, it's like implied that she's been watching all of this from her undeath, basically.
Right.
And then she has like a cryptic conversation with the man from another place.
Right. Yes.
And it's implied that there's still something terrible going on. And then we cut to like Shelley and Bobby are lying in bed, and then like Shelley like gets up and she goes to the kitchen, and she like, or she goes to the
she
bathroom.
Gets sucked into a portal.
She goes to the bathroom and she washes. Yeah, and then she spits up like a small black slug, and it crawls into the drainage pipe and starts a series of vines going underneath the town. I was thinking like she looks in the mirror and we see it's Bob. I guess I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that like would leave a lasting
really
impression.
Hate happy endings, don't you?
Well, it just doesn't seem like the series could end happily. Like it seems like even if things are okay for most people, or most of the main characters at least, something bad has to happen.
Right.
Maybe like Pete is walking along the shore and he sees another dead body, and that's the end of the series. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it just ends happily.
Jumanji.
I guess we'll leave that up. We've run long enough.
Leave it to the fans.
Yeah. I think what we've come up with is good.
The infuriated fans.
And some of it is probably bad. Some of what we came up with is as probably as ridiculous as the stuff that happened in season 2. But I think it's more engaging, at least. Even if it's too insane, it's more engaging than what was going on in season 2, where there was just long stretches of episodes where the plot line wasn't going anywhere, and the show was just going off the rails, and everything was super silly.
I mean, yeah. At least we have a harder set of physics, so everyone can understand what's going on.
At least Nadine isn't dating Mike in high school, and at least we don't have like a million storylines with Andy and Dick are on the case, and they're finding out about like little Nicky and Lucy's sister has visited the town, and let's see what she's like. Like at least we're not in that realm. It's still a crime mystery thriller.
Yeah.
Through and through the whole stretch of the series.
Yeah.
Anything else to add? I'm trying to think if there's anything else worth doing, but I think we've covered it up.
I want to say you need to punch that like button.
Yeah, sure.
And slap subscribe.
If you think we're wrong about all this, or if you have a suggestion for how it should end, we would very appreciate hearing from you. So leave a comment.
Or if you have comments on how we think and what our
I'd
political views are.
I'd like to extend the conversation, you know.
Right.
The music that you're listening to, by the way, it's all it's by Kevin MacLeod, who is like a he's like a legend in the copyright-free music industry, basically. So
thank you, Kevin.
So yes, thank you, Kevin, for letting us use your music. And all of you should head over to Kevin MacLeod. Yeah, you can head over to Incompetech, where his music is at, and if you just look him up, I'm sure there are the other websites where you can look at his music and look at his, you can listen to his music, use his music under certain copyright agreements. My throat is shot from doing this episode, but I think it's still shorter than the last, because the first one, the one we did for part 1 was like 2 hours long or something. It might be that this is super long.
And
but
if Mark Frost and David Lynch are listening to this.
Yes, Mark Frost and David Lynch, we would love to remake the series with you. Cast, forget the old actors, cast a bunch of new actors doing the same thing. We're ready.
We're good.
Or adapt our ideas into a separate thing. We're ready. We can sign the contract anytime now. Mark Frost and David Lynch, who have no interest in rebooting this series, I'm sure Mark Frost liked it a lot.
I see plenty of reasons why you would have no interest in rebooting the series.
Yeah, honestly, after they made the reboot, or David Lynch made the reboot. I don't think Mark Frost owns the rights anymore, and I think he's kind of done. But
he was the genius holding everything up.
Yeah. Well,
David Lynch was just the me of the show.
The what?
The me.
The me?
Me.
The you?
Yes.
Oh, so am I Mark Frost in this situation?
Yes, you are.
It's amazing. I guess because I'm the writer. And, you're also you want to be a screenwriter, so it's kind of a shot in the dark. That's not the expression, but thank you for listening. I hope you had a good day. And, keep watching Twin Peaks. It might not be a perfect show, but it's a lot better than other shows I know.
That's really sad.
Yeah. Well, is it? I guess because of how abysmal some of the episodes are, but yeah. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice day. And keep listening to jazz music.